Well, hello, my soul friends. It is Victoria on the Soul Nurturer channel, here to talk about the upcoming full moon in Libra on April 5th at 9:34 p.m. Pacific time. Is it just me, or does it feel like time is flying by for you? Especially following the lunation cycles, I noticed wow, it's a full moon again. So welcome to my channel. I thank you. I'm always so honored by anyone who takes the time to stop by and watch one of my videos. Hopefully I share something that is helpful, inspiring, nurturing to your soul and your potential. If this is your first time visiting, drop a comment. Let me know where you're watching from and subscribe so that you stick around and visit me next time. You'll be notified whenever I upload a video if you click on the bell. And your connection to my channel helps me outreach to people out there in the YouTube world in a greater way. And that is my mission, to support others on their transformational journey and our collective unfolding. We're all in this together. I know that's trite, it's cliche, but it's true. And my work is all about reclaiming our individual soul potential and possibilities and purpose so we can contribute to a greater collective unfolding. And that's why, why would I, as a soul guide, as a transformational hypnotherapist, be talking about astrology? I believe that for me, following the natural cycles of the celestial movement calls us back to our own cycles of being, our own natural cycles. Remember, we are nature. And why would we exclude the celestial world from this natural world, right? And I think it just really speaks to the human experience, how we separate. We separate from our own nature. We separate from others. And really, I'm already speaking about the full moon in Libra because we're going to be talking about connection and finding the balance point. And well, I'll just drop into it because there's a lot to cover, and I'm going to try to keep this short as I do. And sometimes I go over. We'll see how this goes. There's a lot to cover. But anyway, how are you feeling? I always like that checkpoint just at the beginning of my videos, because when you tell me honestly how you're doing, what you're working with, it helps me really, feel into the collective more, if I'm on track with what I'm offering. And I want to say this, that I did a video about when the astrological new year being when the sun moves into Aries, and I said ready, set, go, and yes, it did feel like that, didn't it? But we are in such transformational times. We're still doing the transformational cha-cha which means oh yeah, let's go, let's bust through. And then maybe you feel a little bit more fatigued than you used to in the past, because there's so much density that we're moving through to co-create a greater new possibility for the collective. So it's not easy work. So I really, especially my empaths out there, give yourself grace. You're probably not only feeling your stuff, you're feeling your family stuff, you're feeling the world stuff. And there is a lot going on. And even though we may feel some lightness right now, because, well, for me, I really felt it when Pluto moved into Aquarius. And it's only here for a short stay until June, then it goes back into Capricorn. It's kind of like the feeling tone of what's possible when we break free from self-limitations, break free from old, outdated agreements, break free from old systems and structures that do not support the highest good for all. That's where we're going with this Pluto in Aquarius, I believe. But we still have some more work to do there, right? And when it goes back into Pluto, we're going to be back in the lessons. Have we learned our lessons? Where are you with your lessons? And this is, the lunation cycle. I think, a full moon, we think of, it's the culmination point. I love the analogy of the lunation cycle that Dane Rudger shared with the world, and you hear a lot of astrologers talking about it. I wanted to give credit to where credit was due. I think that's important. But the analogy of the lunation cycle, I'll do it really briefly. I'm not going to go through all 8 phases, but new moon is where we plant the seeds of possibilities. And then that seed is growing, as the waxing crescent. It's finding the conditions it needs to grow and break through. And then we get to the waxing gibbous, where it has broken through and maybe now this plant is actually budding. And then the full moon, when it is now blossoming. Well, I guess I'll go through a few more. And then the next phase, which is the waxing gibbous, which is the dissemination of, giving back, or the seeds go back to the earth. I was born under that moon, by the way. And a side note, do you know which phase of the moon you were born under? It really speaks to your personality. It's really intriguing. I may do a whole other video on that because I just find it so intriguing. So this moon phase that I'm talking about, the waning gibbous, is when the seeds go back to the earth. Or if you were born under that moon, you are someone who wants to give back and teach and share seeds of wisdom. And then it goes, then I'll just go all the way back to the balsamic moon, the dark moon, the phase just before the new moon. And that is when we go back into the darkness to vision anew, right? So each phase of the cycle is supportive and interesting to look at, just as a kind of a mirror of where are you. And we may not be exactly in sync with the lunation cycle, but it may call us to where we are or what we need. And also it's that we get to sort of borrow the energy of what's happening. It's an invitation, especially with the full moon. So the full moon, in general, is that culmination point where the plant is now blossoming. But it doesn't mean, that you set an intention with a new moon that you're suddenly blossoming. It could also mean that, what does the full moon do? It illuminates, it brings light. All the opposition of the sun and the moon, the sun's light fully reflecting off of the moon and reflecting what we need to see more clearly. So if you're not blossoming in this full moon, you're going to be shown possibly why you're not blossoming, what's still blocking your potential, what, maybe the conditions, the soil that you're trying to grow your potential in are not conducive for your blossoming. So full moons can tend to bring forward a lot of emotion. I always say tears are good. They cleanse the soul. They water our soul garden. But we really can't hide from ourselves during a full moon. Think about if you're out on a night where there's a full moon and clear skies, everything's illuminated, right? So everything in your psyche is illuminated, and in your life it's illuminated. And if you've been doing your own soul work and working with your own natural rhythms and calls, your soul calls, then maybe the full moon's just showing you, all right, you've achieved this, and there's still more to do. It's a good time to look back and see not only how far you've come, but what else there is to do. Okay, so the full moon in Libra, I wanted to talk about, so full moons, I will say, it's about integrating the two very different oppositional energies. Aries, ruled by Mars, the warrior, the fighter, the initiator. Well, both Aries and Libra are initiators because they're cardinal signs. But we've got fiery Aries and airy Libra in opposition. What is it with a full moon? What are we called to do? Or if you have any oppositions in your chart, or if you were born under a full moon, you need to find the balance point. And balance is key with the moon in Libra. The balance point. What are the gifts of Libra? What are the gifts of Aries? And how can they partner together? How can they fulfill the promise of your soul and the fulfillment of our potential as a society in a world that we share? And that's really key, because Aries is all about me, whatever I want to do, but Libra is all about we. So it is the balancing, it's the integration of, our own self-care. The better we are, the more we take personal responsibility for our inner worlds, the more we can contribute to our collective worlds. So I think this is a powerful full moon. There's a lot going on. But before I get to the details of that, I wanted to share two people. I was looking at famous people born with an Aries sun and a Libra moon, or under a full moon. And these two people grabbed my attention. One, Maya Angelou. Why? because as an Aries woman, an Aries Black woman, fighting for justice, bringing light to injustice, bringing light to struggle. And she did it with her words. She did it with expression, Libra, words, communication. And she did it with poetry, primarily, many other things she did, but and her books, but poetry. And, Libra is connected to the arts and creativity, beautifying the world. And so even though her message was potent and powerful, it came in this poetic way, and the message was delivered in a soulful way, awakening our souls. But then the next person, I'll tell you the truth, I was thinking of John Lennon, because he was a Libra. He was all about peace. Give peace a chance, right? And I was looking for a quote for John Lennon, and then I thought Julian Lennon, his first son, came to my mind. Follow intuition, right? That's why I call this intuitive astrology, because I just follow I follow the breadcrumbs. I follow what pops in my mind. And so Julian Lennon, this is so fascinating to me, because I see this in charts when I do charts for families. Usually the firstborn either has their moon sign in the mother's sun sign or the father's sun sign. So Julian Lennon, his son is Aries, but his moon is in Libra, and his dad was a Libra. And this quote, I was like, ooh, okay. I think it's exactly what the vibe is of this full moon. Before I get to Julian Lennon, I forgot I did have a quote from Maya. Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. Do the best you can until you know better. And when you know better, do better. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more. And as a hypnotherapist, I would add on, if I may, Maya, then when you know better, you do better. When you know better, inform your subconscious mind so you can do better. Just as a transformational hypnotherapist, I had to add that, because we bump our head against the walls over and over again, say, but I know better. I'm still doing the old thing. Go watch my last video on updating your beliefs. Okay. So this is from Julian Lennon, and it's kind of harsh to hear, but this is a reality I think we all need to hear right now. So listen to this. He said, Dad could talk about peace and love out loud to the world, but he could never show it to the people who supposedly meant the most to him, his wife and son. How can you talk about peace and love and have a family in bits and pieces? No communication. You can't. Not if you're being true and honest with yourself. Boom. Okay, why is that so connected to this full moon in Libra? Because the full moon is illuminating where we are not being honest with ourselves, where we have a desire for peace and harmony and beautifying the world, but we're either at war with ourselves or at war with others. And we don't have to look too far out of our lives to see how much division there is in the world. This is a call to do your inner work, to make peace with yourself, to make peace with those you love, and to heal. To heal. We can't get to peace without healing our inner worlds. We can't have a collective world that's in peace until we do our own inner work. Until then, we're going to be blaming each other and fighting and not being authentic, as we see this great hero that we all look to, John Lennon, all these messages about peace and love, and yet his own son saying, that's not what I experienced. This is that duality of the soul having a human experience. In our soul, we see the potential. We want to actualize it. But in our humanness and our woundedness, we're still not actualizing it. So that leads me to something that's very important. And that this full moon, I'm going to jump down now to where everything is. Actually, I'm going to pull up the chart. And I wanted to show you the chart. I couldn't get my Zoom lighting to work, so I wanted you to see the chart I'm looking at, but I'm going to work on that. Okay, so this full moon at 16 degrees Aries, 16 degrees moon in Libra. And there's something about that was interesting. I was reading something about the last, I think this is the 7th full moon at 16 degrees. And I did want to share about that because I was researching that a little bit, and that there is a thing called, let me see if I can find it. It's called the definition it's called the degree theory of astrology, right? So this degree at 16 degrees falls under Cancer. So the moon rules Cancer, giving these placements lots of nurturing and caring energy and affinity for all things home related. Again, this could be our external home, but mostly I think we're speaking about our inner home. How's your inner home? Are you out of balance? Are you overwhelmed? You got too much in your mind that you need to declutter? So I want to talk about decluttering in a moment, because it is the time, I call it, to purge, to emerge, purging your old thoughts, old patterns, old stories, purging this stuff in your house. In fact, right after this video, I'm going to get into some purging. It's the time. Spring cleaning, folks, like on steroids. Let go of anything, thoughts, patterns, beliefs, stuff that is not aligned with your soul and your soul potential. If you're hanging on to stuff because it reminds you of who you used to be, you can't become who you're supposed to be. So aligning with soul is, who am I becoming? What is trying to emerge through me? And then you purge everything else, okay? And this is for my people that are going through the soul visioning experience right now in particular. And we're going to do a whole segment on that in the class. Okay, so this degree theory of astrology, I'll just read this. This is from Emily Rideout. Degree theory is an analytical approach to astrology which adds layers of meaning to placements according to their degree. And I love this. This method works because astrology is a system of associations, okay? By examining the degree of the planet, associations with other signs and personal tendencies can be understood in a more detailed way. Folks, this is what I believe about astrology. It is just association, correspondence. What's happening when, it's Aries season? What do you notice about your own life? What's developing in the world? What's happening? That's the correspondence. So 16 degrees, it's kind of, I had to say something because it's the 7th one in a row of full moons. I think it's purposeful. Okay. Now, back to the chart. Okay. So not only is Sun and Moon in opposition, a full moon, Sun in Aries, Moon in Libra. This is the big thing. Sun is conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. So this is a time, people hear wounded healer and they're like, oh no, more healing, more work. I'm so tired of being stuck in my wounds. Yes, your wounds will always be part of your life, but the healing is cultivating the gifts from your wounds. Who are my wounded healers out there? Do you relate to this archetype? I made peace with myself when I realized I am what Jung called a wounded healer, archetype, wounded healer. Those who have been wounded by life and spend their whole life trying to heal, and in doing so, cultivate soul medicine is what I call it, which is meant to be the remedy for yourself, but we tend to give it to everyone else. And that's good. We want to contribute our healing to the world, but the healing with Chiron in particular, where it is in your chart and in this collective transit where we've been wounded, to take our own soul medicine for the healing of our being so we can contribute our soul purpose. And so there it sits. So I would invite you, since the moon illuminates everything, yes, maybe be aware of your woundedness. That's part of your history. But then you also, I'd invite you to let this be a harvest moon. Harvest the gifts from your wounds. Like, okay, yeah, this happened. But what strengths came out of that event? What happened when, like my own life journey, there's a lot of abandonment and death, which, by the way, when I say to people I work with grief with, death is the ultimate abandonment. Even though logically we know the person's died, it feels like they've left us, right? So for me, abandonment, what did I cultivate? Really desire to be present to others and connect with them and support them and love them and offer acceptance and compassion, offering all that I need, right? Tell me if you relate to this, and I'd like you to write down in comments if this relates to you. What do you imagine your soul medicine is? How do you find it? Where were you most wounded? And what did you most need? It's in the what did you need that you cultivated what you needed, and the healing is giving it to yourself. So that felt really important to talk about with this Sun conjunct Chiron and this full moon. Sun is still pretty close to Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of, it amplifies everything, expands everything. So again, the wounds and the gifts will be amplified. But it's also, I always think of Jupiter as wanting to, it's like the healing balm that wants to come and bless us. Be blessed with and by your wounds. What a thought. And I will say also what's coming is, as you bless yourself, you're blessing others. So be the blessing and bless others from your blessing. And no longer stepping over yourself to bless others while your soul is starving for your attention. Okay. There's so much here, folks. I just want to do top of the trees. We do have, I'm going to save the rest of that for later. You may feel the shift to Saturn and Pisces. And again, these big moves of Pluto into Aquarius, Saturn into Pisces. You need to look at your natal chart to see where it's impacting you, which house it's in, what that's being lit up. Same as the full moon. Where do you have 16 degrees of Libra in your chart? That's where this full moon is going to be lit up in your chart. Whatever house that is your unique opportunity to work with this full moon. Okay, I'm going to wrap up really quick because I see I'm already at 21 degrees. Now I'm talking astrology, 21 minutes. Okay. So again, I wanted to touch on, this culmination point of Aries. Oh, I'm so glad I'm looking at my notes because this is so powerful because we are in this powerful portal of we're going from a new moon in Aries to another new moon in Aries. We had a new moon in Aries on March 21st. We're going to have another one on April 20th. Gosh, I have to look at that. April 19th. This is very rare, right? And in Aries, like we're being called to initiate new beginnings in our life, but it's like a full circle. So now we're in the full moon. We're seeing what's still not working, where we still need to heal, what is being revealed to be healed individually, collectively. We can't escape this cycle. It's an opportunity to say, okay, I really am willing to do this differently. What can you do differently in order to achieve peace in your life, harmony in your life? Think of all the Libra archetypal expressions: harmony, balance, peace, artistic expression, beauty, ruled by Venus, love, partnership, partnering with your soul. I really want to encourage that. Before you can have a healthy partnership with someone else, you need to partner with your soul. Love your potential, nurture your potential. Vision from your soul for your contribution instead of, why am I quoting John F. Kennedy? I don't know. I just take whatever pops in my head. Ask not what the world can do for you, but ask what you can do for the world. This is Libra moon. What can you do from the world? What can you contribute from a place of peace and harmony and beauty? And then also just what's in your way of achieving balance and harmony and peace and delight in your life. I mean, Libra just loves to find that balance point and loves the finer things in life and really loves love. So this is a time to let go of the problems, the unwanted behaviors, the issues that have been holding you back and preventing you from being a source of love and peace in the world. Yeah, can I get an amen, anyone? Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say. There's so much more, but I think I've offered you enough here. Comment with what resonates most with you. Let me know if you relate to the wounded healer archetype. Let me know where you're committed to bringing peace and harmony and love into the world. Sure, we're upset by what's happening in the world, but are you contributing or contaminating? And what I mean by that, are you adding more fuel to the fire, or are you trying to figure out how to cultivate something new through the fire of transformation? I really, this is for all of us. This is a world we share. This sun in Aries and moon in Libra, be the peaceful warrior for highest good for your life and for the collective world we share. How many times can I say collective world we share? Okay, Libra, Libra, Libra. All right, and again, to quote my Angelou, do the best, or how, I've got to go back. Sorry, I want to get it right. I want to misquote the queen here. Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. Do better. And what does doing better look like for you? Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing that's not better and not good enough, not right. Libra is the balance, and we could also be the judge. If we're in the shadow of Libra, we're judging everybody else and not looking in the mirror and looking at ourselves. So now I'm quoting Michael Jackson. I don't know that he wrote this song. I think it was a woman, and in fact, I think she went to Agape when I went there. Shanita, something like that. I'll look it up and put it in the description. Anyway, the man in the mirror or the woman in the mirror. What is that lyric? It's coming. I'm going to say her. I'm looking at the woman in the mirror. I'm asking her to make a change. If you want to make the world a different place, take a look at yourself and make a change. Boom, there it is. Okay, peace and blessings to you, all my lovely viewers out there. Really, it's time to just really take personal responsibility, nurture your potential, reclaim your potential, clear everything out of the way of your potential and your purpose, and lead with love and peace with the intention of harmony in the world and in your own inner world. All my love to you. Thanks for being with me. Again, subscribe if you haven't, like and comment, and I'll see you next time. Take good care of you until then.